All right, welcome back, everyone. So last week, we really wrestled with eidetic variation, right? That super powerful method of using your imagination to strip away everything accidental to get right to the pure essence of a thing. It's an absolute cornerstone of phenomenology. But, it also leaves us with this really profound and kind of troubling question. Think about it. If we discover the essence of a chair or justice or whatever through this free play of imagination, a process that happens completely inside our own consciousness, well, it's tempting to jump to a pretty dangerous conclusion that the world out there is just raw, unformed stuff, and we're the ones who just stamp our ideas onto it. I mean, does the world itself get any say in the matter? This is what I call the gray goo misconception. It's this idea that the world is just this passive, meaningless sludge of matter, just waiting for our heroic consciousness to come along and give it form and value. It's a picture of us projecting all the structure and all the significance onto a totally indifferent reality. But this isn't Husserl's picture at all. In fact, it's the exact opposite of what the whole phenomenological project is supposed to reveal. So today, we're going to dig into how Husserl completely flips this idea on its head. We're going to discover that for a phenomenologist, the world is anything but passive. The world, as Husserl sees it, actually pushes back. It has a voice. Now check out the language Husserl uses here. This is from his Cartesian Meditations. He says that being makes a self-imposition, an Anspruch, upon the subject. It asserts a claim on us. Just think about that for a second. It's not the subject imposing its will on the world, but the world, being itself, actively imposing itself on us. It's making a demand on our consciousness. This concept is so important that, of course, there's a German word for it. Seinsanspruch, the claim of being. An object isn't just sitting there waiting for us to label it. No, it shows up with its own built-in structure, its own essence, and it makes a claim on us. And the crucial point here, for our method, is that our investigation has to be faithful to that claim. And that leads us to this perfect metaphor. See, the whole process of making meaning isn't a monologue that our mind delivers to a silent world. It's a dialogue. It's a structured give and take between a consciousness that has intentions and an object that presents itself with its own set of rules. Okay, so if it's a dialogue, what are the rules of engagement here? How does this pushback actually work in practice? Well, this brings us to the ideas of structure and what a lot of people today call affordance. So yes, consciousness is where meaning happens. Husserl calls this act Sinngebung, meaning bestowal. But, and this is the key, this act is not some free-for-all. It's not arbitrary. It's guided, even restricted, by the pre-given structure of the object we're dealing with. An object's own properties determine its receptivity for certain meanings. It either affords a meaning or it resists it. Let's make this really simple. Let's say your goal is to hammer a nail. You look around the room, you see a curtain. Can you just decide to constitute the curtain as a hammer? Well, you can try. But the curtain's own being, its material essence, is going to push back with incredible force. It's not going to work. Your intention will be totally frustrated. A rock, on the other hand, it has a very high receptivity to being seen as a hammer. Its hardness, its density, its mass, its whole essential structure affords this practical meaning. It actually helps you fulfill your intention. Or here's a more subtle example. Your intention is to write something down. Now look, neither a stick nor a piece of charcoal is by nature a pen. But the material properties of charcoal, the fact that it's soft and leaves a dark mark, give it a super high receptivity to the meaning writing utensil. You could almost say it passively motivates you to use it that way. A stick, though, it's got a strong pushback against that meaning. Sure, you could scratch something in the dirt, but the object itself doesn't invite or fulfill that intention in the same way. The objective structure of the charcoal gives it a better claim to that meaning. So what's the big methodological takeaway from all this? It's that this dialogue, this whole push and pull between you and the object, is precisely what gives structure to your own consciousness. Husserl says the object itself designates a structural rule for consciousness. Just let that sink in for a moment. The object is the one holding the rule book. It's telling you how it needs to be perceived. So to understand the structure of your own experience, you don't just look inward, you look at the rules being laid out by the object you're experiencing. The object literally teaches you how to see it. And honestly, this should be a huge relief for anyone trying to do phenomenology. It means our inner world, our transcendental subjectivity, isn't just some wild, chaotic mess of random thoughts. No, it's organized by its relationship to the structured objects out there in the world. The structure is already there, in that correlation. Your job is just to learn how to trace it.
So let's bring this all home. Let's put it together into a new method, a new way for you to approach the world as a phenomenologist. And it's all about treating every encounter as a dialogue.
So let's just toss out that old view, the idea of an all-powerful mind creating meaning from nothing. That's pre-phenomenological thinking. The new view, the one we're working with, understands that meaning emerges from this structured dialogue. It's a team effort where the object's own essence helps set the agenda. This right here is your task. This is what you're going to be doing in your papers. Your job is to become a master listener, to actually listen to the object's claim of being, its Seinsanspruch. You have to carefully trace its essential structures, figure out the rules of engagement that it's giving you, and finally, describe that whole dialogue through which a meaningful world actually appears to us.
So, as you go to work on your next analysis, I really want you to keep this question front and center in your mind. Are you going into it like a sculptor, just imposing your own will onto some passive clay? Or are you approaching it more like a diplomat, patiently learning the language, listening for its own voice before you even think about speaking? The entire success of your work as a phenomenologist really depends on that answer.